Now look at this. We do need to spend a little bit of time understanding the different types of networks available to our virtual machines. The default type, which is NAT, is allowing our virtual machines access to the outside world by using your host machine as a network address translation router. We can set up a routed network, and this is similar to a NAT network where we are on our own separate network going through our host machine to access the outside world. But a little bit more manual, where you have to set up and configure the route table yourself. Open is where we're connecting to the network that the host is connected on. And when we look at isolated, virtual machines can communicate with each other, but they can't communicate with the outside world. So they can communicate with other virtual machines on the same network and with the host, but not the outside world. And then finally, we have SRIOV, which is our high-performance networking if it's supported by your network card. With this, it is really good for real-time applications. But for the moment, let's move out to Virt Manager so we can look at how to manage our virtual machine networking. Now you can see I'm back on my desktop system and I have Virt Manager open as well as obviously a command line open. So let's go through into our Virt Manager and take a look at our networking. I can choose Edit and Connection Details. But do make sure you are connected on the QEMU KVM link first. So Edit and Connection Details. You can see the default network, and we can see that it's VirBridge 0. And if I go through now and look at IP link, we can see that we've got VirBridge 0, and this is my default NAT network. I also have one interface connected to it, VNet1. This is my active virtual machine. Well, if I want to add a new network, I can move to the green button at the bottom, plus. I'm going to add an isolated network, so I might call this private. And then from the drop-down list, I'm able to choose the different types of network. So I'm choosing isolated. I can look at the IP4 configuration, but I'm going to leave it as default. But this will be assigning IP addresses via DHCP. I can close this down. And now back on my host machine, looking at IP link, I'm able to see that we've got VirBridge 0 and VirBridge 1, Virtual Bridge 0 and Virtual Bridge 1. So we have defined a new interface on the host system. Well, let's connect to this from our virtual machine. I can click on the Rocky virtual machine. And remember, this is running at the moment. And then choose Virtual Machine Details. Choosing to add hardware, I can then look for a network card and choose to add a network card. I can choose which network to connect it to, the network source, and I'm going to choose my private network and then click Finish. That is it. It is now connected to the new network, our isolated network. Let me go through, and if I run IP link on my host machine, I can see now that VirBridge 1 is active and it has a network card connected to it, VNet5. But it gets better than that. Let's clear the screen and look back at our Virsh DOM IF ADDR, and then for Rocky 9, the domain Rocky 9. And when we look at that, we can see then the two network cards, VNet1 and VNet5, and the two IP addresses that are assigned to it. So whilst the virtual machine was up and running, we connected hardware, and that was automatically configured in the virtual machine. How cool is that? But it's only going to be cool if we can prove that we can communicate to it. So I'm going to use SSH, and I'm going to connect to VNet5, the new isolated network. So 192.168.100.179. And give that a go. We haven't connected to this IP address before, so we are going to have to accept the public key. And then, of course, I can enter my password. And that is it. I'm in on the Rocky 9 system. And of course, if I look at my IP-4 address, reviewing the output, we can see that we've got our ordinary loopback address. We have ENP1S0, our original NAT network card, and then the new network card on the isolated network, ENP7S0. But thank you so much for your time and support. It is really appreciated, and I do hope you've taken your time to enjoy and get the most out of this course.